Hey everyone, this is Khara Brindle. I am co-founder of the Empowerment Model, co-owner of Supervisionary. We are doing another supervision role play today, and I have good friend and colleague Liliana with us. Hey Liliana.
Hey.
So we've seen her face on my other channel. This is obviously on the Empowerment Supervisionary channel, which is all about role plays for supervision. So we're passionate about showing you what this could look like and also giving awesome clinical supervisors like Liliana a chance to show you her style. So Liliana is going to play supervisor. I'm going to play supervisee. And our role play today is around some boundary setting and health and wellness of supervisees. And how do we broach that without becoming their therapist, which all of you viewers know how I feel about that. So how do we stay in the lane of supervision and still be compassionate and empathetic? And Liliana was my go-to person to think of for this role play. So anything you want to say to our viewers before we jump into the role play itself about who you are and what you're up to these days?
Something that I want to say is like, be gentle. Uh,
Yeah.
what am I up to? Doing what I love, which is helping supervisees and helping with trainings.
Love it. Yeah. So anyone who's like, oh, I've seen your face everywhere because you are doing awesome things. So there will be a chance to share a little bit of where you are found and where people can connect with you here at the end of the video for folks who are like, yes, all things Liliana is doing, I want to have a connection to. So with that, let's drop into the role play and see what happens.
Okay. So, Kara, tell me what's for the agenda today. Tell me a little bit about you, and then tell me a little bit about your client.
Yeah, I was struggling to come up with the client part of today's meeting because I'm really just feeling kind of foggy and burnt out with the client caseload I have right now, and feeling a little vulnerable telling you that, but I feel like you're the person I should be able to tell that to. And I don't know, I'm hoping for some ideas today on how to fix
Yeah.
that.
First of all, let's pause and thank you for bringing this to me. These are the things that we want to bring into our supervision session, right? So tell me more about what is it about your caseload that it feels a little bit. Is it okay if I use the word overwhelm, or what other word will you use?
Yeah, I think definitely overwhelming. I know that we've talked previously about how there's like ebbs and flows to like people's stuff. And I feel like the client stuff has gotten a little bit more like closer to crisis. And then my personal life has gotten a little bit more stressful. And so I think I'm not managing it well. And so it just feels like every client is more effort than it used to feel like. Maybe that's
Yeah.
why I use the word burnout, is it just feels like I'm slogging through. I don't want to do that with
Mhm.
clients. I want to really be present.
Oh, I love that. I love that awareness that you're there, you are sharing with me today. And I'm wondering, what are you doing in order for you to take care of you after sessions? Do not tell me about massages. Do not tell me, because that is like the most consumed thing that everyone has learned to share. But how do you really take care of yourself after sessions?
What flashed through my mind is what I want to be able to do, but I'm not doing it.
Okay. So what is it? What is the fantasy? What is it that you want to do?
I mean, I want to have, and it's so interesting, the word choice popping in my head. I want to have the luxury of like the time to like walk after sessions or like have this transition between I'm at work and now I'm at home. And I know since a lot of us do these telehealth sessions now, it's just been a lot harder for me to do. But what flashed before my eyes is like, I want to be able to just like take a walk and decompress and then be like fully present for my family. And that's definitely not happening. I'm like rolling in and try to jump right into the next thing.
So let's even, is it okay if we break it down more? Tell me, what is the barrier for you to schedule a session, block some time so that you can do those walks?
No, I think it's part just trying to keep up on the administrative tasks of like trying to write my notes before I leave for home. And then that's like 20-30 minutes. Then I have to actually like get, home. In my case, just like shut everything down and walk downstairs because I work from home.
Yeah.
But that's 20 to 30 minutes of admin time to like get stuff out while it's fresh. Makes me feel like I don't have extra time to walk. I just have to go down and start making dinner.
Okay. So there's like all these stressors of managing everything that you have to manage. So I'm wondering, let's do a hypothetical. If you had a really good friend or someone that you really, really love, and they were going through this parallel process that you've been having, what will you advocate for them to do? How would you advocate for them to take 3 minutes just to go outside the door and then come back?
I mean, even just hearing 3 minutes feels more doable than what I had in my head of like, oh, I have to take a 20-minute walk for it to matter, to be effective. So that reframe of like, it doesn't have to be long, maybe is the first thing I would emphasize to a friend or even to myself of like, 5 minutes, can you pop outside, get some fresh air, and then come back in? Like that feels doable.
That feels manageable. What do you notice in your body when you're like, wait a minute? Yeah, it doesn't have to be 20, it can be 5.
I mean, it feels more possible, which gives me a sense of relief versus being like, oh, I'm failing at this and I'm telling clients how to do their self care and that I'm not doing self care. And the hypocrite
Oh,
part of us of like, you've seen that meme of the person who looks like some scary Halloween mask because they're like, oh, I didn't do self care, but do self care. You know what I'm talking about. So,
I know what
uh,
you're talking about, right? So let's remind ourselves that when we went into this field, we came out with this fantasy of we have to be there for others all the time.
mhm,
And then as human, you have all these rules, all these roles that you have to manage. So there it feels like you have to do it all.
mhm.
But I'm wondering, what is the spin off, the reframe that we have to do in order for you to take small increments of time off?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's so much there. I think one thing you can help me with as my supervisor is help me figure out how to write my notes more efficiently. And that would give me the time that I'm looking for. I'd really love to not spend 20 to 30 minutes writing notes for one day's worth of work. Is that something we could do together?
That is totally something that we can do together, right? And that's in the administrative stuff. But I just want to create awareness that you went automatically to the professional side
Mm,
in order to come back to how can I increment? How can I add? The idea of even like closing my computer for 2 minutes, listen to a song so that I don't have my brain does not have to be working.
mm,
My brain does not have to go to the brain association of comparing or burnout. And then I can come back again. Or I can get up and go for a quick walk, listening to a song, and then come back in order for me to be on again. So we can definitely do on the administrative part, but I still want to come back and how can we spin up this in order for you to also focus on the personal, on the human you part
yeah,
that has to
yeah,
do with all those roles.
right. I mean, I liked the idea of music because I heard you say that as part of it. So, I mean, even just the fact that a song could be like anywhere from what, 3 to 5 minutes. So that could be a great way to like say, I'm doing the self care I'm supposed to be doing or need to be doing without feeling like I have to overschedule it. That actually feels a little free to be like, it's a song versus, oh my
It's
God,
just
10
a
minutes.
song, right? So how's that feeling right now? Because I can see even your face, like it just changed. Now you're smiling, thinking about
Mm.
possibilities of going and taking care of you, your body, your well-being.
Yeah, I think I'm feeling more hopeful and also feel like this is what, if I can do this, then I can also be more successful at helping clients figure out their own structure this way. I mean, you already
Hmm.
called it out. Like I'm a logic left brain thinker. So like to sit and like the possibilities is fun, but not my MO. I can't do it easily. So
Yeah.
like I think that's a growth edge for supervision anyway.
Hmm.
Um, but if I can try this out and embrace this, just see how it goes, like maybe that would give me more creative ideas for clients too, because I've tried some of them out myself.
Yeah. So again, it's this parallel process that we have with what we suggest to clients and then how we can apply that to ourselves. Our field has not prepared us for this. And we as therapists are trying to develop, like, what would that look like for me? So singing a song, listening to a song, meditating, going for a walk with this beautiful weather, looking at the leaves. I think you have mentioned before how you love seeing the leaves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how we can incorporate that in your daily taking care of you.
I like that. So yeah, I think for accountability, maybe I take this week to try that with like a song and get outside. It's not too cold. And maybe I
Mhm.
come back to you and let you know how that actually is
How they
starting to
went.
feel. Would that be
Yeah,
okay?
that will be perfect.
Awesome. Okay. So I'm gonna time it out there. You're so funny. You called me out on like Khara, you like went back to like fix it. That's where
That's
my
what
brain
we do
is.
in our
Oh
field,
gosh.
right?
Well, that's
You're
what I
not
do
the
as a
only one.
person. Yeah.
You, me, and everyone that we know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just how we work. So I love that we captured that on video and viewers, you can laugh along with us here. Like, oh yeah, she called me on some real stuff there. So what I wanted to reflect back to you before I ask you kind of what your intentions were in that role as supervisor what I really appreciated in this role play is that you didn't automatically go to take time off, which I think is another knee jerk reaction, just like massages. Like you either get a massage or you take a vacation or you take time off, which, yes, everyone deserves time off. I think you and I can agree with that. However, some of our supervisees feel financially strapped, where to take
Mm-hmm.
time off actually adds stress on one side of their life,
Yeah.
or like creates more problems versus solutions because now they're just like fixating on the lost income or everything
Mm-hmm.
they have to catch up on when they get back. So I think that was important for me to name in this video of like, I really appreciate that you didn't automatically go there because I don't think that suggestion lands well for
Mm-mm.
everyone.
Mm-mm. It's a fantasy that we have,
Mm-hmm.
right? The fantasy of um, consuming. If I go on a vacation, then I will be able to relax. The reality is that most of us are checking our emails when we go to vacations.
Yeah.
Or as you have called me out, I'm like working, like I'm relaxing. Wait a minute, like type of this. And you're really good about
Yeah.
calling me out on those things. So,
Well, it's because I do it too. Yeah.
so we
So
all do it.
it's that band-aid, right? Of if you're like, okay, this is
Yes,
like a band-aid. If I like go on vacation, it doesn't actually like fix the quote unquote problem. I feel like what you suggested in this role play was more of like a lifestyle shift that would actually be
exactly.
better than a
Mhm.
band-aid.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's those small things, right? Like what can we do to regulate in those small moments? It doesn't have to be this big chunk of time. It can be a minute where I go get a drink and I'm using a straw. I'm regulated in that moment. It may
Mm-hmm.
be a song and I'm gonna get up and dance it out. Well, I just added cardio there.
Mm-hmm.
Walking, right? Like what can we do in small increments that it will build habits for us?
Right, right. It has this like intentionality behind it too. It's not just walk to walk. It's like be mindful when you're walking or be mindful when you're taking a sip of your drink through the straw, that kind of thing. Is there
Yes,
anything else you
exactly.
want to emphasize to folks of like how you kind of directed me in that supervisor supervisee role?
Asking questions from a place of curiosity so that I know exactly where you go and what is the either negative cognition or expectation that you have. You right away went into brain associations, right? Like I have to do this, I have to perform in all these things. So for me, learning that is able to name like, have you thought about this? Like these small things that we can do versus thinking like everything that I have to do. So it's just an
Right.
invitation from a curiosity place.
Yes. And I feel like you do that really well. Of like, and there was also like permission in there too, where you're like, is this okay? I'm going to bring you back. Like, I'm telling you what I'm doing. But like with a lot of like opportunities for me to consent or not, be like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Which, we don't always see in supervisor supervisee relationships of like this like collaboration, this kind of like dance between the two parties.
Mhm.
I think you do that really well, but I think to emphasize to viewers, like there's probably a lot of times where we go into like fix it modes as supervisors. We're like, oh, I want you to do this and this and this. And it like starts to look like I'm dictating this versus curiosity and an invitation of would this be okay?
Mhm.
Anything you would want to elaborate on that since you do it so
I,
well?
I don't think I do, but thank you. But I think it's the parallel process, right? Usually, as supervisors, we tend to see that in our clinicians because we're also going through that, or clinicians seeing in their clients because they're having that parallel process too.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Yes.
idea is how can we create awareness and how can we give ourselves permission by being gentle in small increments of taking care of ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the fact that it parallels our clients is something makes it makes so we can't ignore it. Where it's like, oh, my client, I'm telling my client to do this, and I'm not doing this. So that shows up more than people want to admit. I think in our field.
Oh my God, every
So,
day.
so knowing this is like the tip of the iceberg for a lot of folks who are like, okay, I'm navigating this. My supervisor needs to have this conversation. If there was a supervisor who's not so self-aware, like if I'd come in as in this role and been like, I don't know what's wrong, but like I am this just kind of sucks. Like, would you have approached this any differently?
I will still be curious and then throw hypotheticals. Tell me.
Yeah.
But I will go in order for me to fish to see can we create awareness or is it so burnt out that that is not even possible because my body's holding so much. And if it
Mm-hmm.
is, I may ask you to like, what is it that you're noticing from here until I see you again? I'm wondering if you can just like write down, you can even text me. You don't have to like keep extra notes. Like just when you're done, like send me a text to describe your day because I need for you to see it when you meet with me instead of me pointing it out. Because if you're not
Mm-hmm.
ready, it may look like a projection, it may look like a negative cognition, and thus the last thing that I want you to think of. We're
Mm.
dealing with so much. But if you see it, what do you notice as you send me this text?
Yeah.
That's
It's
like
like that
you, not
visual.
me. Mhm. Yeah.
I like that. So that's like accountability plus some visual cues of like, okay, I can process this later, even if I just like quickly typed it up to you or shot you an email or whatever is appropriate for the supervisor, and then
Hmm.
have that be something to revisit in
Hmm.
supervision. I like that. Hmm.
Yeah. So it's in EMDR we call it the container, right? Like we're gonna put it in a container and then we'll talk about it later. So in supervision, it's almost the same. It's a container. I don't have to respond. I don't have to do anything as a supervisor. You're just sharing with me, and then when we come back, we can talk about it. Not as
Awesome.
a therapist client, but as a supervisor, supervisee client.
Right. Like helping them build their own self awareness, not because we're saying, I see this. I mean, there's a
Mm-mm.
time and place for that kind of transparency, but I'm hearing that for most supervisees, they can get there themselves with this kind of exercise. So
Yeah.
where can people find you? Because I know that people might have more questions or have other thoughts to share with you. Where would they find you for that?
If you have met me, you know that I'm really playful. So the first thought that came like, no, don't find me. But if you
Like nowhere.
nowhere. But if you have questions, you can go to social media and find me. You can go to my website, which is Liliana's Consulting Services. And then there you have all my social media information where you can find more about me.
Awesome. So I'll make sure to include that below the video. I really appreciate you doing this role play with me. And we had some like real authentic moments. And then of course, obviously I was still sort of role playing, but like it's so easy to role play burnout, right? Like,
Oh
you're like,
my
come
God,
on.
count me in. I can do that anytime.
Yeah. So like that's something else we all need to unpack in our
Yeah.
industry. But I just really appreciate your willingness to do this video. And I know it's going to help people start to broach this in supervision. So thank you so much.